Hi, everybody. Thank you, Nate. You guys, while Nate was talking, I was just sitting here thinking, how awesome would it be to have a Nate to like narrate your entire life? He has such a great voice.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I needed
I wasn't
Nate to
expecting
narrate.
that.
So you guys, welcome in. I am Sarah with Beadalon, and of course Meredith is here in the comments to moderate if you've got any questions about what you are seeing today in our class. I've got a fun one for you guys today. This one is a seed bead related project. Now, before some of you groan, don't worry, we're not going to be doing any seed bead stitching. I know that sometimes seed beads get a little bit of a bad rap. We're actually going to use these in kind of a different way. We're going to use these in a really easy way to put together a really cool bracelet that you can really alter and create like wearable art with. We're going to make a simple triangle with ours, but I'm hoping that I'm going to inspire you to take your seed beads and lay out some really cool patterns on your own and come up with something great. So don't be scared that there are tiny beads involved in today's project. I promise I will break it down and make it as easy for you as possible. So that being said, I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to get you guys down on the mat. We're going to talk about what you're going to need. I'm going to show you the beads and we are going to get started. So let me turn you around. All right. So for our project, we are focusing on some seed beads, and fortunately for us, Michaels has an amazing selection of seed beads, and John Bead has some great Czech Glass beads. These are the ones we're going to be focusing on today. So I'm using a combination of two different sizes. Okay, I'm using some size 8 in this really beautiful gold. It's like a gold lined, if you will. You see how it has that metallic inside to it. So we're going to be using these, and this is going to be kind of the frame to our little piece of art. And then we're going to be using these two colors in combination. And these are in a different size. These are in a size 10. They are slightly smaller than these with seed beads. The bigger the number, the smaller the bead. So just keep that in mind when you're shopping for seed beads. If you're looking, particularly if you're looking online, it's a little bit easier to determine in person, but when you're looking at them online, it's a little bit harder to distinguish which ones are what size. So just know that the larger the number, the smaller the bead. So I'm using a combination of this really beautiful kind of turquoise blue. And then this is labeled as brown, but it is really just a metallic kind of bronzy goodness. And there's more than one shade in here. There's like a hematite and like a brown, and it almost has like a purple sheen to it as well. Just a really cool color combo in this little tube here. So these are the 3 colors we're going to be focusing on. We are going to use some eye pins to make ourselves a focal for our bracelet. And this is the sample. This is just a little piece of what is possible. I'm doing this on a small scale, but you absolutely can do this on a larger scale. So our design is going to need to fit within 7 rows this direction of seed beads. And then I believe it's 11. Let's see. I want to look at my instructions just to be sure that I know for sure. 15 beads across. So there's going to be 15 this way, but there's 7 this way. So if you're going to make yourself a grid, you can use graph paper, or you can just draw out all the little boxes if you want to, or use a piece of lined paper and come up with your own design that's going to fit within those parameters, or you can follow along and do this exact same design. I wanted to keep it pretty simple. So we're just doing a little triangle because geometric designs in jewelry never seems to go out of fashion, and it always tends to pop up in the summertime. So I thought this was a good one for this time of year. So that's our little pattern that we're going to be referring to. And then to kind of continue with that geometric thing, I'm going to use a little triangle charm at the end with our clasp, just to kind of bring the triangle, I don't know, around to the rest of the bracelet. And Bead Landing has these really cool creations, and I love the creations because it's like they kind of take the guesswork out of the jewelry making for you. You can go and pick up several of the creations, things that are available, and put together instant gratification, which is really, really cool. And these little triangles were just the perfect accent to go with our triangle design. You're going to need some eye pins. that's what our little triangle is made up of. Okay, so get yourself some eye pins, and then you're going to need your findings. I always gravitate towards the Beadalon Findings variety pack just because it has everything that I need in one place. I just grab it, toss it to the side on my desk, or put it in my bag if I need it to go. And it's got a lot of different jump rings in it, and it has 2 different kinds of clasps. It's got everything you need in it. Last but not least, you're going to need some chain, and I've got 2 pieces of chain that are going to be the length of our bracelet. Now, feel free to do anything other than chain for the chain length of the bracelet, okay? You're going to need 2 pieces that are very small, 1/2-inch pieces. I've got these little guys. These guys I wouldn't alter, but if you want to do something other than just plain chain for the length, and I'm talking about the part that's going to go around your wrist, that's going to be on either side of this, you could probably do your own little beaded chain. You could even do a seed bead, you know, on some just bead string wire if you wanted to. This is just an inspiration for you to kind of take it and run with it. Okay. All right. So let's get started, shall we? You're just going to need your basic tools for this. Your pliers. I've got 2 pairs of chain nose to open and close jump rings. Got my round nose pliers to create some loops. And then last but not least, you're going to need a cutter tool to cut your chain and your eye pins. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to dump out our seed beads, and then we're going to start building our pattern, and we're going to go 1 eye pin at a time and lay these out before we actually put everything together, okay? So I'm going to save these guys for last because they are the frame. So we're just going to start with the blue and our bronze mix. So I'm going to dump out a few of those. It really doesn't take a lot of seed beads for this, which is great because that means you've got a whole tube of seed beads that you can use for other projects. And even if you're not a seed bead person, these make great little spacer beads and accents to your stringing projects. So you can never have too many seed beads on hand. You know, they make a great little accent. All right, so there are our beads. We've got 2 little piles here, and we want to remember that our beads going on our eye pins are 15 across, okay? So we need to map out 15. We're going to start at the top and work our way to the bottom. So this very top row has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the blue, 1 of the brown, and another 7 of the blue. So that's what we are going to pick up right now. So you just want to use your eye pins like little needles, right? To pick up your seed beads. You can pick them up individually if you want to. Oh, that one just does not want to behave. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so there are 7. We're going to pick up 1 of the brown or bronze or whatever you want to refer to it as, and then another 7. Whoops. Okay, there's 6 and 7. Okay, so we're gonna bring those all the way down here to the eye on the eye pin. Now, I do want to point out that my design is only 15 beads across, but you can see I still have plenty of room on my eye pin. So if you wanted to make this a wider design going this direction, you can. You just want to map it out a little bit differently and make some adjustments if you're going to be creating the same triangle. You're obviously going to need more of the blue. All right, so I'm going to leave mine just like it is, and we're going to go ahead and grab the end of the wire right where that last seed bead is, and we are going to use our chain nose pliers, and we are going to give the wire a bend. And I kind of do that in like chomping motion almost with my chain nose pliers. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but I kind of just bite down over and over again to really get a good bend on that wire. I am never able to get just one fluid movement and it to be a nice crisp bend, but you do whatever works for you. You don't have to do it the way that I do it. All right, but now I want to come in with my cutter tool. We're doing a simple loop, so it's not a wrapped loop. We don't need all of this excess wire. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut off, leaving myself about 1/4 of an inch of the wire. Now, a good rule of thumb, at least for me, is if I can fit my finger between the cutter tool and the beads, that's going to be right at about 1/4 of an inch. Now that measurement is probably not going to work for everybody, but find something that you can, you know, use as a measurement without having to grab a ruler every single time, right? And the more you get used to cutting that length off, the more you're going to start to recognize it and be able to just kind of eyeball it and get pretty close. So I'm just going to trim off the excess wire. And now I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. I'm going to grab that wire right at the tip between my round nose pliers. Oops. And I'm going to roll that wire back towards my hand and towards the bead. And again, I don't do that in one fluid movement. Oh, that was a terrible loop. And my loops don't always look beautiful. The good news is, that one was pretty sad. I'll do better on the next one, you guys. But the good news is that the way that this piece is laid out, you don't even see those loops, right? You're going to see those. It is a thick eye pin, so that definitely makes a difference, but you're going to see only the side of those loops. So if your loops end up looking like mine, you can give yourself a break, right? It's totally okay. All right, so there is one row down, and we're going to do the next row down. So the next row, and I'm going to count it out because I've got to know just as much as you guys do. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the blue, 3 of the brown, and another 6 of the blue. Okay. So we're going to pick up 6 of the blue, and you'll notice as I pick these up, I don't really chase a seed bead around. If one of them doesn't go on just right away, I move on to the next. I'm not going to chase a seed bead all over my bead mat. I don't know how you guys are about it, but I am not going to do that. So you'll notice that I may skip over 1 or 2 and move on to the next if it's giving me trouble getting on the eye pin. All right, there's 3 more of the blue. We need 3 more and we will have this row ready. All right. So drop all of those down, make sure there is no room in between, right? We don't want any extra wiggle room. We want to be sure that they come all the way down here to the loop. And again, we're going to come in with our chain nose pliers. We're going to grab that wire and give it a bend. Okay. I'm going to come in with the cutter tool, trim off the excess, and come in with the round nose pliers to roll back. You'll see that loop was much better. I promised you a better loop, and I delivered on that one. All right, so there is our second row, and I'm just going to lay these out, right? It helps to see the pattern as you're going. Okay, now we're going to pick up our sample and look again. So you're going to notice the number of the blue ones is going to decrease, of course, as the brown ones increase. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the blue, right? So we've increased the blue by 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the brown. So we've increased the brown by 2, and then another 5 of the brown, or I'm sorry, of the blue. Okay. So we're going to pick up. There's 5 of the blue. I'm going to pick up 5 of the brown. Okay, and 5 more of the blue. Bring those down, make sure that they are touching our eye pin down here at the bottom, touching that loop. Okay, and again, chain nose pliers, we give that wire a good bend. Then I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and trim off, bringing in the round nose pliers and rolling back. And again, see how I roll back? I do it in little movements. If that works for you, do it that way. If you can get it in one smooth movement to make a loop, perfect. But for those of us who struggle with a simple loop, don't feel like you got little movements. There's nothing wrong with it. All right. So we're 3 rows down. Now we are working on row number 4. So again, our blue is going to decrease by 1. So we're doing 4 blue and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the brown and 4 of the blue. I had to make sure I had that math right there. So we're going to pick up 4 of this beautiful teal blue. Okay. 8 of the brown. Oops. There's 4, 5, 6. Well, 6, 7, 8. These are being tricky. Come on. There we go. And 4 more of the blue. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And if you need to, you can always lay it down before you commit, right? And just kind of double check your work. Okay. Chain nose pliers coming in. Give that wire a good bend. I like a nice crisp bend. That's why I use my chain nose pliers and not my round nose pliers. I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and trim off and in with the round nose pliers. Okay, and there is another loop. Right, so I'm going to lay that one down. Okay, we are moving right along. Now, wait a minute. This guy looks like he's a little short, doesn't he? I need to double check on that one. Number 3, let's see. 3 down was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5, 5, and 5. Okay, well, I don't know. It just looks a little different while it's laying flat, doesn't it? It looks like it might be, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see at the end if we need to change it, but I believe that's right. So, all right, now we're down to row 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 3 of the blue. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the brown and 3 of the blue. Okay. I don't like to mix my math with my jewelry making. I know that that's, it's nearly impossible not to use math with your jewelry making, but I don't number very well. I create just fine, but when it comes to numbers and measurements and all of that, I always tend to struggle. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of the brown. And we need 3 more of the blue. All right, so there's that. So we're moving along quickly, right? And again, I'm going to give it a bend with the chain nose pliers. I come in with my cutter tool and trim off, and you'll notice I hold the end of that wire with you or with my finger. I went from 15 beads to 16 beads, did I? I don't know what happened, you guys. Oh, goodness. I told you I don't math very good. I create just fine, but I don't math very well. All right. So I'm holding on to the wire with my finger. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but I hold on to it that way. When I cut, it doesn't go flying. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to make my loop. And we're going to lay this out again because I think you're right. I messed up in there somewhere. It's this one right here. This guy is just not quite right. So let's go back up. Let's make another one. I've got plenty of eye pins, right? So that was row 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll do it again. Right. It just goes to show that everybody has their challenges with creating. No problems, right? All right, so there's 5 of that one. 1 through 3 were 15, and somehow I ended up bumping it up to 16. I'm not really sure how I managed to do that. I'm probably just remaking the problem again, but you know what? It's all right. It's all right, because in the end, we're still going to have a cool piece of jewelry, and I'm not super worried about it, right? Fortunately for me, I've got all of you out there to keep me on track with all my numbers. All right, so I probably just remade the exact same problem, but that's okay. Yeah, we did. We did, didn't we? We went over. Let's double check our work here. We're not in a hurry, right? So the first 3 rows were fine. It was when we come down to row number 4, we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 4. So there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 4. How did that happen? It was in the original. The original has an accident in it. You guys are sharp. Thank you. Well, at least we know, right? At least we know that it's still going to come together, and it's still, even though our rows somehow got off, it's still going to come together correctly, and it's going to look okay. And it's really not going to make that big of a difference. So you guys are on track, you guys. Awesome. Okay. So I'm just going to keep going like I am, because the original mistake was in the original piece here. All right, so we're going to do 2 blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of the brown and 2 of the blue. Yep, I made a big mess, but that's all right, because it still turned out looking good. So, right, I'm not worried about it. All right. So let's pick up our brown. We're just going to keep going. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I did say 12, right? And 2 blue. Yep, because we went from 15 beads across to 16 beads across. Oh, goodness. Are we sure it's not Monday, you guys? All right, so I'm grabbing the wire. Gonna give it a bend. We're just gonna power through. And I'm gonna come in with my round nose pliers and make another loop. Okay. All right, so now we're down here to the very last row. Okay, and the last row is 1 blue. Of course, you got to keep it real. I never claimed to be perfect, you guys. So, all right, so there's 1, and I use humor for everything. So I just have to laugh at it. Because this is not the worst thing that's going to happen in my day, I'm sure, you know? All right, so 1 blue on either side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And you can clearly see my math was off when we look at it that way, right? There's 14 of the brown and 2 of the blue, which gives us 16 when we started out with 15. It's okay. It's all right. All right, so no problems. Gonna pick up 1 blue. I'm gonna pick up 14 of these brown. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then we'll pick up our blue. And I just want to go back for just a second, because I said this is not the worst thing that's going to happen in my day. That's not exactly what I meant. What I meant was, if this is the worst thing that happens, then I can count my blessings, right? I mean, if this is the biggest problem I have of the day, that's pretty darn good. So it's all right. All right. I just get to share it with a lot of people. Okay. So I am grabbing that wire. And again, I'm going to give it a bend. So we're just doing the same thing over and over again, right? And more importantly than the count of the beads, you guys, we have to, in the spirit of keeping it real, we are really focusing more on technique here than anything else. So what are you going to get from this project? What you're going to get from this project might not be counting beads, but you definitely are going to get a great lesson in making your simple loops, right? If you struggle with simple loops, this is a great project because you're going to make several of them. So you're going to get plenty of practice in that. And then of course, being able to put together a cute little art piece out of beads. Who doesn't love that? So technique focused, I think we're winning, right? All right, so I'm going to move all of these guys out of the way. And if you'll look at the original, to connect all of these together, I've used two more eye pins, right? I've used an eye pin on this end and an eye pin on this end, but in between each one of the rows, in order to accommodate the space, right? So the rows are not crowding each other out, I've used a larger size seed bead in between each one of these. That's going to evenly space out all of the beaded rows so that our little design keeps its shape and everything is not kind of trying to fight for its own space. All right, so we're going to open up these. These are just a slightly larger bead. These are eights. We were using 10s. So these are just a little, or we were using 10s. Now we're using 8s, which are just a tiny bit bigger, right? Okay. So we're going to take an eye pin and we're going to thread on one of the gold beads. We're going to thread on, and I'm going to start down here at the bottom. So we're going to pick up our bottom row and thread on that loop. We're going to thread on another seed bead, the gold one. We're going to pick up the loop on the next row up, another seed bead, the next row up, another seed bead, next row up, another seed bead, and the next row up. Another seed bead, the next row up, another seed bead, and the next row. Now I want to finish this with a seed bead just like we started with a seed bead, just so that they will match, right? Because we had a seed bead here. We want to be sure that we finish with another seed bead, and then we're going to do another simple loop. So we're going to hold all of this together. Now we don't want to squish it all down, right? We want to be sure that there is enough wiggle room in here for everything to have its own space, right? And I do want to be sure that my loops are going in the same direction. That is also pretty important, okay? So again, I'm going to come in, chain those pliers. I'm going to give the wire a bend. Okay, I'm going to come in with my cutter tool, holding that tail end of the wire so that when I go cutting, it's not going to go flying, right? Making sure you can see there's the excess wire. I hold on to it because you don't want that to fly back and hit you in the face or somebody else in the face, right? Okay, grabbing the wire, and we are going to roll back to close up our loop. Okay, so now we've got a loop on the top and a loop on the bottom. Okay, and then we just want to repeat that on the other side, but this time we are going to have to go really slow because all of our rows are attached to each other, right? So we are going to go a little bit slower here. We're not picking them up individually. Remember, they're already secure on one side. So we're going to pick up a seed bead and a loop, seed bead and a loop, seed bead and a loop, seed bead, loop, seed bead, loop, seed bead, loop, another seed bead, whoops, come on now, and our last loop. And we're going to finish off with one last seed bead. Drop all of that down. And again, we want to create our simple loop. So I'm going to grab the wire. I'm going to give it a bend. Okay. And trim. Round nose pliers coming in and rolling back to close up our loop. Okay, so now we have our little triangle design. And at this point, nobody knows that it's off by a bead. It's okay. It still looks good, right? And if anybody is close enough to you to be counting out the seed beads on your bracelet, well, they need to find something else to do, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna scoot all of these out of the way. We're gonna put the rest of this bracelet together, okay? So we are going to bring in our little chain pieces. Now remember, the chain pieces are about a 1/2 inch each, and you wanna be sure that they are all the same length. And one of the ways that I like to do that is when I'm cutting my chain, if I need a specific length on all of them, I'll cut the first one and then I'll thread it onto an eye pin, right? If I've got, if I have an eye pin handy, or if I've got a scrap piece of wire, and then I will thread on my chain next, another chain piece next to it. Then that way I can let it fall and I can trim off and make sure that they are exactly the same length, right? That kind of keeps me from counting out the individual lengths, which doesn't matter if you're going to be doing short pieces like these, but if you're doing a long piece of chain and you need several of them, it gets tedious to cut, to count rather all of those. So you're going to need 4 of these, and I'm just going to thread them on here. We're going to double check and make sure that they're all the same length. Okay, so I can see they're all close, not close, they're all perfect. We don't want close with this. We got close with the seed beads. We want perfect with our chain, right? All right, so 2 on either side, and these are going to go on either side of our design, and they are going to attach directly to the loops. So if you want to go ahead and kind of sit those out, and you'll see where we're going with this. And then we're going to connect those 2 with a jump ring. So we're creating this little kind of chevron on either side. So I'll show you what I mean. So very carefully, okay, and I mean this very, very, very cautional. Gosh, I'm just making up words today. The whole seed bead thing just totally threw me off. You want to be cautious when you are opening these, because you don't want all of your seed beads to push into your loop, okay? But you do have to open up your loop here. Hold on with your chain nose pliers and walk it open just slightly, just like you do a jump ring, okay? Don't pull it apart, just walk it open. Very carefully thread on one of the links on either side of your chain, okay? And then close that back, right? So be cautious. You don't want to lose all your hard work here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing down here on the other side. We're going to walk it open. It's just a twist. We're going to thread on the bottom link to one of these little chain pieces, and then you just want to walk it closed. Okay, so we have 2 little chain pieces here, and we're going to connect those 2 chain pieces with a jump ring, but I'm not going to do that just yet, because we're also going to use this piece or this jump ring to attach our long links of chain as well. Okay, so I'm going to hold off on that part, and we're going to move over here to the other side. I'm going to open up again cautiously our loop. Okay, I'm going to thread on the last link of the chain on one of these little short pieces, close that back. Okay, same on the other side, walk that open, chain piece, and then twist it back closed. Okay, so all of those are attached. And now you want to cut your 2 longer lengths of chain. Now this is going to be kind of up to how long you want your bracelet to be. 4 or 5 inches is what is in the materials list. If you need a longer bracelet or a shorter bracelet, then you obviously want to make your adjustments in your piece of chain, not in your focal here. Okay, so don't adjust this, adjust here. So we're going to take a jump ring here. I'm using a 6mm jump ring. I'm going to use 2 pairs of pliers, hold that, walk it open just like the loops here. I'm going to thread on the last chain piece or the last link on one of our chain pieces. Okay. I'm going to thread on the last link of our other chain piece. That's going to make a little triangle out of everything. Again, see, our triangles are kind of repeating everywhere. And then we're going to thread on the last link of one of our long pieces of chain. And then we're going to close that back. So holding that between 2 pairs of pliers and twist to close. Make sure you get a good closure on that. Okay. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. So we're going to take another 6mm jump ring, open, thread on the last link on that piece, the last link on this piece. Okay, and a last link on our long piece of chain. And we're going to close that back. Now we are almost finished. Our last little step here, right, is going to be adding our clasp to the end. So to do that, I'm just going to use 2 jump rings and a lobster clasp, but I also want to attach a little charm that matches our triangle, right? So I want that little charm to go on the side that isn't, or that is the clasp. And the reason why, I'll show you, is because when you go to put your bracelet on, you don't want to fight with trying to accidentally hook your clasp onto your charm. So I always like to put my charms, if they're on the back of something, I like to put them wherever the clasp goes. So slide that guy on and then slide the clasp on. Then when I go to open and close my clasp, the only thing I'm going for is this jump ring here. I'm not going to accidentally grab onto the jump ring that's holding my charm or focal or any other piece, right? So that's just my little, I just kind of prefer that. It makes it easier when it comes to putting your jewelry on, right? So now we can open that jump ring, or I'm sorry, that clasp, and hook it to the jump ring, and we're not fighting against that little charm. And that's it, you guys, that's it. Now, obviously you can take this to a whole nother place, and that's what I'm hoping that you're going to do with this design. So we kept it really simple with a triangle here, but you can create all kinds of little patterns here with your little grid that you've got. If you've got graph paper or lined paper, lay out your pattern ahead of time, double check your math, of course, and you can create any kind of little art piece, right, that you want for your piece of jewelry. And then I just use simple chain for the length because I wanted this to be my focal, but you could do a beaded chain here. You could do seed beads here. You don't have to leave this just as simple as I have it. I'm just giving you the starting point and you can take this and run with it. So there are definitely a lot of possibilities with this. Also, that being said, I don't know if any of you noticed or not, but you can turn this sideways, right? You could shorten up your seed beads here, right? And add an ear wire to the top and a dangle at the bottom. And you've got yourself a really cool pair of seed bead earrings. So, you know, there's a lot of options with our seed beads. Don't be intimidated by them. I know they're small. They can be kind of scary if you're not used to using them, but they make great little paint palettes for your work. And they also serve as great spacers and little pops of color in between your larger beads. So there you go, you guys. I'm going to turn you around. And I just want to say thank you so much, number one, for doing my math for me. And number two, for being so patient with my with my mistake. But you know, it's important that you see those because it just kind of makes everybody on the same level, right? It doesn't matter what your skill level is. We all face those kinds of struggles when we are creating jewelry. And, you know, you just kind of laugh it off and go on at the end of the day, because it really just, you know, when you lay down to go to sleep at night, that's the last thing I think you're going to be stressing over. So jewelry making is supposed to be fun, right? All right, you guys. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope I've inspired you. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again very soon with another great project from Michaels and Beadalon. You guys have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye, guys.